Good afternoon, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is raw materials that are used for media preparation in fermentation industries. Okay, so for the growth of an organism, to cultivate an organism, we require certain raw materials. Okay, during the process of fermentation. So what are the different types of raw materials that are used that we are going to discuss today? So production, let us now first discuss what is a production or a fermentation media. The growth medium that is used for cultivation of the production strain or producing microorganism and subsequent production of either microbial cells or a biochemical product is known as fermentation or production medium. Okay, so what is a fermentation or a production medium? The medium that is used for growth and cultivation of a production strain. Okay, and subsequently growing or production of microbial cells or the desirable product is known as fermentation medium. Each an ideal production or a fermentation medium should possess certain characteristics. What are the characteristics that an ideal production medium should possess? The first is chemical composition. Okay, the production medium must have a suitable source of carbon, nitrogen, growth factors, mineral salts, etc. that are required for optimum and flourishing growth of the production strain. Okay, so for the growth of microorganism, you can say optimum growth of microorganism, the medium should supply a source of carbon, nitrogen, growth factors, minerals, vitamins, etc. Okay, so such must be the chemical composition. Number 2, precursors. The medium that we are using as a production medium should provide essential required precursors for better yield of a desirable product. Okay, as required. Certain fermentations require precursors. Okay, for a better yield of the product. And the medium should provide precursors that are needed for a particular fermentation. Say for example, in the production of antibiotic penicillin, precursors are required and that must be present in the medium. Okay, so second desirable characteristics. Number 3, buffering capacity. Okay, in order to control the pH of the medium, buffers are added into the production medium. Okay, we all know that every organism has an optimum pH that is required for its growth and required by microorganism for converting the substrate into product. So the pH needs to be controlled throughout the fermentation run. So in order to control the pH medium, we have to add buffers into the medium. Now the medium which contain considerable amount of proteins, amino acids or peptides actually have or possess good buffering capacity, because proteins or amino acids are good buffers. So media containing proteins, amino acid, peptides are excellent buffers. Now additional buffering capacity is also provided by adding salts like potassium dihydrogen phosphate, dipotassium hydrogen phosphate, that is K2HPO4, KH2PO4, etc. Okay, so maintaining the pH is very essential for making the fermentation process successful. Okay, now the next characteristic is toxicity. Being an ideal production medium, the medium should be free from any toxic effect on either the culture or on the product formed. Okay, so the media that you are using should not contain any ingredient which will be toxic for microbes or toxic for the product that is formed. So non-toxic media. Right. Number 5, consistency. See, we usually prefer a liquid medium as far as aerobic fermentations are concerned, because if the medium is thick or viscous, it creates difficulty in penetration of and circulation of air into the medium. So this creates anaerobic condition and hence it will hamper the product yield. So usually we prefer using a liquid medium as far as aerobic fermentations are concerned, and in most of the fermentations liquid media are preferred. The consistency should be liquid, non-viscous. Aeration and agitation are more effective in liquid medium. Okay. So now the next point, that is contamination. There are certain conditions of the production medium which are helpful to check the contamination. Okay, certain conditions of the production medium itself help in checking or controlling the contamination. Say for example, in citric acid production using microorganism Aspergillus niger, the pH of the medium is very low because citric acid is being produced, and it helps. So low pH of the fermentation broth itself helps to check or to keep contamination under control. Further, such a medium can be sterilized at low temperature. Okay. Or if you think we need, to avoid any contaminating microorganism, the medium, the production medium, every ingredient, the production tank, everything is sterilized before carrying out the fermentation. The next point is avoidance of foaming. Foaming is a very serious problem in fermentation industry. We have already discussed regarding anti-foam agents. So foaming is a very serious problem in fermentation industry because it may lead to contamination and it will interfere with end product formation. Hence, anti-foam agents are to be used or added into the fermentation medium. Anti-foam agents can be either added before sterilization or after sterilization as and when needed. Okay, so anti-foam agents like lard oil, soybean oil, corn oil, okay, that is crude anti-foam agents can be used, and in research purposes we use silicone compounds that are inert anti-foam agents. Okay, the next point is recovery. Recovery of a desired end product is a very important operation since it affects the final cost of the product. Okay, so recovery of the product from the fermented broth is an important operation because it is going to affect the cost of the product. So the components or ingredients of the medium should be such that the extraction and recovery of the end product is very easy and cheap. Okay, so extraction and recovery should be very easy as well as cheap. So what are the desirable characteristics? An ideal production medium should have what desirable characteristics? The chemical composition, okay, should be such which supports the growth. It should be non-toxic. It should have good buffering capacity, should provide precursors. It should be easy to control the contamination. Foaming should be avoided and recovery needs to be taken care of. Okay, now what are the different raw materials that are used? So a variety of raw materials are used in different types of industrial fermentations. Usually we prefer using nutritive sources which are crude, because they are easily available, readily available, and they are economical, they are cheaper. Okay, so most of the time we prefer using agricultural products and their byproducts as raw materials in fermentation industries. The various raw materials that are used include carbohydrate material, which are saccharine materials, starchy materials, or cellulosic materials. Number 2, so the various raw materials are number 1 carbohydrate material, number 2 hydrocarbons, vegetable oils, then nitrogenous material, and distillers soluble. So these are the list of raw materials that we use. Number 1 carbohydrate material, number 2 hydrocarbons and vegetable oils, number 3 nitrogenous material, number 4 distillers soluble. So let us discuss about carbohydrate material. Carbohydrate materials includes those substances which can supply carbohydrates, like number 1 saccharine material, B starchy material, number C cellulosic material. Okay, so carbohydrate materials are classified into 3 types. A, saccharine material, it includes molasses, fruit juices, whey. Second type of carbohydrate material is starchy materials, which includes cereals like rice, wheat, maize, etc. and root tubers like potatoes, sweet potato, tapioca, etc. And next carbohydrate material is cellulosic material, which includes sulfite waste liquor and wood molasses. Okay, now in the next class we will discuss about the carbohydrate material. First carbohydrate material, that is saccharine material, and that too molasses.